Hi guys, so I just wanted to speak on a subject that someone was asking me about. Okay, so to make a long story short, people are wondering why none of my cases have been heard in court. And I agree, I have the same questioning. I don't know specific to myself why, but I do know, look at how beautiful the water is. But I do know that there are major reasons in Chicago, and I use Chicago as a model because I'm from Chicago. I don't know what goes on in New York or Cali or whatever, but I would imagine it's similar, okay? Understand the evolution of our government, right? We have state's attorney's office, and what does the state's attorney do? They prosecute the bad guys, right? We have police. What do the police do? They arrest the bad guys, right? So what happens is, as we have large cases where there's federal involvement, meaning there is an investigation taking place over a course of years rather than a single arrest being made, there's a need for witnesses. So the state, the feds, whatever local department you're discussing, they have a need for witnesses. They incentivize witnesses with jobs. What kinds of jobs can be given by the government? Government jobs, correct? So what happens is, we're all human beings, we all have compassion, and protected with government jobs. So you go from having an entire population of the courthouse as uninterested parties to people who actually know what the fuck it is to struggle, who know what it is to live with death, who know what it is to be afraid to walk to school in the morning. And when you discuss that population having jobs in the government, there's a barrier that's removed. And that barrier is the human, sense of compassion, of feeling, of understanding. Something that an Ivy League college cannot pay for. If you are afraid to get out of bed in the morning and walk to school, there is no way to make someone understand that fear who has never experienced it before. Maybe with virtual reality, but even still, when that is your actual life, you're scared and you feel things and store things, traumas, samskaras, as is described in The Untethered Soul. And they affect you for the rest of your life, and they affect your decision making, and they affect the way that you see the world. Well, when we take out all of the Ivy Leaguers from the government jobs and we fill up our courthouses with but what ends up happening is control shifts, paradigm shifts take place. And as I said, it's only natural that when you have connections to the community so deep, your loyalties will also, rest with the communities. Oh my God, cutie. So what ends up happening at the end of the day is that the state's attorney's office can have all the proof they want. If they're receiving pressure from street gangs, pressure from violence at home, threats, death threats against their family. Let me ask you a question. Regardless of what your job title is, I'm a mom. If it was my job to prosecute a criminal and someone showed up at my home, at my doorstep and said, bitch, let this case go or I'm going to come back here and kill you and your family, no problem, right? Who disagrees? I dare any one of you to disagree, because you'll be lying if you do. So the problem that I'm facing right now with my cases, the victimizations against me, is that all of this political stuff that can be clearly explained and understood if you have the time and patience to really, make an analysis of the evolution of our local government and the powers that be, is that there are more than just your clean cases being presented here. There are setups, there is corruption in the streets, and there are corruptions in the courthouses. Money is a big power player. And unfortunately, we have not found a way to separate the two yet. So my only best guess with regards to why, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you stopping? My only best guess with regards to why these cases have not been prosecuted yet, or at all, is because the state can't. If they could, they would. Again, my biggest concern is that proof has already, been provided. Arrests were made when I was bludgeoned. Police showed up at the scene. They saw the person there covered in blood with the tire iron, and they made an arrest at the scene. They took me by ambulance to the hospital, but they didn't press charges. The state did not pick up the case. The police did their job. They made the arrest, but the state did not pick up the case. That's what made me first start wondering, is our local government shut down? The stabbing, I was like, well, maybe it was just a mistake. It's an underfunded county, Joliet-Will County. There's not a lot going on there. It's, a lot of farms kind of getting. Thing like this went down in the city, for sure the state would have picked it up. That was my thought. I've never been a victim of any sort of violent assault prior to this. This was the very first time I had been violently attacked. It was 2019, I believe May. But these women had checked into the prison systems for a visit, so their IDs were there. Their license plate was there. Sorry. Whoop. Sorry. So I still have question about it. I can't receive victim services if there were no charges pressed. But my home has been taken. My trauma has been at an all-time high since that happened. And, I have a lot of questions. So there are a lot of answers. Why hasn't the case been heard? There are numerous answers. Number one, either the local government is shut down and the state has lost control. Number two, the state is being pressured and their necks are being stood on. Or number three, I really don't see any other options than that. Do you? If someone robs you or bludgeons you or stabs you on camera in broad daylight with witnesses, wouldn't you be wondering why the state couldn't pick that up? But the police can only be as effective as our government is effective. So we have to come together and understand that the criminal justice system begins in the street with the police, but it doesn't end there. And if we can't protect government officials without completely ostracizing them from society, we have no system to begin with. And that's about it. I just wanted to jump on and say that. A lot of people have been asking me if that really happened to you. Why hasn't the state picked up the case? Those are my predictions. They're only predictions because, as I've told you guys a million other times, no one calls me back. I think I probably have called them more times than they ghosted me. The state's attorney and the police have ghosted me. I have made so many calls to area detectives. I always tell the police who harass us, I'm the one who walks around with the Chicago Fire, tarp, talking about lawsuits all day. All your police officers know who I am. I'm not a criminal. I'm not a drug addict. Please lay off of me. That's what I tell them right away. Do I think it's okay for them to lay into criminals and drug addicts? None of my business. And I'm not trying to find out. I have enough on my plate advocating for myself. I'm all for humanity and being a decent human to everyone. But I also believe that we deserve safe communities and that our children deserve to grow up in safe communities, no matter what part of Chicago you're from. All right, you guys, I gotta go. Xavier and I are gonna grab tacos. We've been broke all day, starving. My baby's hungry. We hungry. So we're walking another 3 miles with my ankle weights on and grabbing some tacos for dinner. I hope you guys have a good weekend. And I'll talk to you soon.